5 seconds to go. Start. It is further submitted that conviction of an accused person cannot be sustained only on the basis of proving the last seen theory, as the same was required to be corroborated with the statements of the witnesses that are examined during trial along with other evidence placed on record. While pointing out the discrepancies in the statements of prosecution witnesses which were relied upon by the courts below, it was submitted that the conviction of the appellant herein could not be sustained on the said ground alone. Shri Balagopal, on the contrary, submits that the courts below have concurrently found the accused persons guilty of the offences charged with. The prosecution has proved the incriminating circumstances beyond reasonable doubt. It has also proved the chain of circumstances which leads to no other conclusion than the guilt of the accused. He relies on the judgment of this court in the case of Suresh Chandra Bahari versus State of Bihar. Undisputedly, the present case rests entirely on circumstantial evidence. A three judges bench of this court in the case of Sharda versus State of Maharashtra has laid down the golden principles with regard to conviction in a case which rests entirely on circumstantial evidence. We may gainfully refer to the following observations of this court in the said case. A close analysis of this decision would show that the following conditions must be fulfilled before a case against an accused can be said to be fully established. The circumstances from which the conclusion of guilt is to be drawn should be fully established. It may be noted here that this court indicated that the circumstances concerned must or should and not may be established. There is not only a grammatical but a legal distinction between may be proved and must be or should be proved, as was held by this court in Shivaji versus State of Maharashtra 1973 to SCC 793. Observations were made. Certainly, it is a primary principle that the accused must be and not merely may be guilty before a court can convict, and the mental distance between may be and must be is long and divides vague conjectures from sure conclusions. The facts so established should be consistent only with the hypothesis of the guilt of the accused, that is to say, they should not be explainable on any other hypothesis except that the accused is guilty. The circumstances should be of a conclusive nature and tendency. They should exclude every possible hypothesis except the one to be proved, and there must be a chain of evidence so complete as not to leave any reasonable ground for the conclusion consistent with the innocence of the accused, and must show that in all human probability the act must have been done by the accused. It can thus clearly be seen that it is necessary for the prosecution that the circumstances from which the conclusion of the guilt is to be drawn should be fully established. The court holds that it is a primary principle that the accused must be and not merely may be guilty before a court can convict the accused. It has been held that there is not only a grammatical but a legal distinction between may be proved and must be or should be proved. It has been held that the facts so established should be consistent only with the guilt of the accused, that is to say, they should not be explainable on any other hypothesis except that the accused is guilty. It has further been held that the circumstances should be such that they exclude every possible hypothesis except the one to be proved. It has been held that there must be a chain of evidence so complete as not to leave any reasonable ground for the conclusion consistent with the innocence of the accused, and must show that in all human probabilities the act must have been done by the accused. In the light of these guiding principles, we have to examine the present case. The trial court has relied on the following circumstances: last seen together with the accused, recovery of the stolen material including jewelry from accused number 3, recovery of spade from accused number 1, recovery of the dead body at the instance of accused number 3. The trial court had convicted accused numbers 1 to 3 upon finding that the prosecution had proved the aforesaid circumstances against them. In appeal, the High Court found that the prosecution had failed to prove the case against accused number 2 and accordingly acquitted him. The learned division bench of the High Court, though, found that the prosecution had failed to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt insofar as accused number 2 was concerned, held that insofar as accused numbers 1 and 3 were concerned, the prosecution had proved the case beyond reasonable doubt. It could thus be seen that the trial court as well as the High Court found the circumstance of the accused persons having been last seen in the company of the deceased on the basis of the evidence of PW1 as the main incriminating circumstance. The High Court further found that insofar as accused number 3 appellant herein was concerned, there was an additional evidence with regard to the recovery of the dead body and ornaments. Stop.